I want to welcome you to our teacher recruitment and retention pillar, a strategic plan town hall. My name is Jessica Haxey and I'm the ACTFL president this year, and it's a true honor to be with you. I'm going to be introducing you to all of my friends and colleagues who are here tonight in just a few moments. We'd like to let you know that this entire session will be recorded, and also ASL interpretation is being provided. So you should see them pinned right now, Claudia, and let's see, where's the other one? I don't see her pinned. Because it's Claudia. Who's translating right now? Claudia? No, where'd she go? Well, we have to get her pinned.
Vanessa.
Oh, Vanessa. Okay. I hope Vanessa's pinned. I'm not seeing her pinned. But if you are using ASL, please go to the chat, drop down and find Jamie and tell Jamie. And then when you go to breakout rooms, she will make sure that you have the interpreter with you in that breakout room. So if you're looking right now, I guess it's Vanessa you're looking for if you're searching through the videos. So if you do have that poll everywhere teed up, oh, some of you are already on the first question, I see. If you could let us know where you are right now. How fun is this to see? Go ahead. So it's pollev.com, and up here on the top, Jessica H821. Who do we have out here? Oh my goodness, put in the chat, where are you? Where are you out here? Are we gonna embarrass myself with my poor geography knowledge? Who on my panel can tell me where this might be? This is terrific. We have people in South America even. Oh, all the way up in northern Canada. That's terrific. In Hawaii. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being here. That's just great. Let me check the chat. South Hadley, Mass, Seattle. Terrific. Great. Great. Oh, thank you so much for being here. This is exciting. We're thrilled to have you. Just thrilled to have you. All right. Now we have another question for you, and that's, what do you do? So we know we have people with a range of different roles here: K through 12 educator, higher ed, K-12 student, undergrad, graduate, consultant or company representative, nonprofit, or other. Let's see. Oh, this is fun to see. Looks like right now, mostly we have higher ed, but we have quite a few K through 12 people here. And we also have representation in all of these other groups. No K to 12 students, unfortunately. They're the ones we really should be asking about teacher recruitment, aren't they? Great. So looks like we have a terrific range of people. And I hope that when we do our random breakout rooms, we're lucky enough that those groups get mixed together so we can do a lot of sharing tonight. And we have one more question for you, if you don't mind typing. We're really interested why you're here. What did you hope to gain from tonight? What is the impetus for you taking this precious time on a Thursday night in the first weeks of school to come and talk about teacher recruitment and retention? So go ahead and type your answer, and we're just going to see the types of things people are saying. If you're struggling with poll everywhere, feel free to just type in the chat. Ways I can help. Thank you. Yay. It sure is a big issue in our field. It's a big issue in education in general, and it is an especially big issue in our field, as all of us have seen this year. Oh, a dissertation on world language teacher attrition and retention. Terrific. That's exactly what we need. World language coordinator cannot find teachers. I'm with you. I'm a supervisor, and I still have one more part-time position to fill. I did pretty good though. Learning how to support teachers' well-being and retention. Great, part of your work. Supporting new Indigenous language teachers. How wonderful, how exciting. That's great. This is the future. Yes. We've been so rewarded by these town halls, getting so many ideas. It's just, as soon as you ask more people, the vision becomes larger of what we can accomplish. Teacher certification. If we don't concern ourselves with teacher pipeline, we won't be a content area. Right. If we it's funny. In my school district, I had principals who wanted to add programs this year, and we just couldn't find teachers. So we just didn't even pursue the position. So even if we have people who are willing to start K-12 programs, that often we're not able to staff them. All right, we're going to have to move on, but we're able to read these afterward also. So thank you so much for sharing these. Not being able to find student teaching is one of the biggest issues. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a whole nother fascinating area to discuss. So I'm going to move on just in the interest of time. We have so much to share together. I want to thank my facilitators who also served as the planning team for this town hall. So I'm just going to ask each one of them. Actually, I think in the interest of time this time, we're just going to, I'm going to say their names instead of having to video on, video off. So if you don't mind, but I'm going to introduce them. Pablo Muirhead, who is our treasurer on the ACTFL board, and he's also a professor at Milwaukee Area Technical College in Wisconsin. We have Bridget Yaden, who is the past president of ACTFL, and she's at Pacific Lutheran University in Washington. Leslie Grand, who is our professional learning committee chair, board member of ACTFL, and many of you know her, I'm sure. Maria Carrera, who is at California State University, Long Beach, also a board member. Pete Swanson, who is a past president of ACTFL and Spanish professor at the Air Force Academy in Colorado. Victoria Russell, who is ACTFL president-elect, and she is a professor at Valdosta State in Georgia. Leanne Tirada, who is a former LIL member and Spanish teacher in Colorado. Ying Jin, who is a former ACTFL Teacher of the Year, current board member and on the Professional Learning Committee from California, high school teacher. And my friend Benjamin Rifkin, Dr. Rifkin is professor of Russian at Hofstra University. So these are really people with a lot of expertise in this area. And I was so honored to work with them to pull this together. And these are your board members for ACTFL right now, and many of them are here as well this evening, and they will be jumping into your breakout rooms or in your breakout rooms to talk with you and facilitate any questions you might have. We also are lucky. Howie, do you want to introduce the staff? We're thrilled to have them.
So hi, my name is Howie Berman. I'm the executive director of ACTFL. We have an incredible, wonderful, fantastic, how many other synonyms can I use? Staff that support this organization and the profession. There are a number of them here tonight. You see on the list also some that are not on this list that I'll recognize. Celia Zamora, who is our Director of Professional Learning and Certification. Monique Ennis, who's our Director of Human Resources. Kate McCrae, Professional Learning Manager. Paul Sandrock, who's our Senior Advisor for Language Learning Initiatives. Aaron Welchel, who is our Outreach Manager, who also handles the Lead with Languages campaign. I believe also Mackenzie Arbogast, who's our Director of Finance, is here. Meg Malone, who's our Director of Assessment and Research. And Julia Richardson, who is our Director of Convention Events and Marketing. I think I got everyone who's in here. Oh, Jamie Kravanka, of course.
Oh gosh, we always
our fantastic executive assistant, Jamie Kravanka, who is running everything behind the curtain. So thank you to everyone for being part of this.
Right, and thank you to all the staff members who came on their evening. I mean, I apologize I didn't have everyone's name up there. If I'd known you were here, I would have put them. So, and Jamie, I've got to put her name front and center next time. I apologize. She's doing an incredible job for us. So the purpose of these town halls, just real quickly, those of you who've been before, I apologize if you've seen this, but we really just wanted to build community and collaborative relationships between ACTFL members and non-members. As you know, non-members were invited as well. We wanted to involve you in reflecting on the pillars of our strategic plan, and we'll take a look at that tonight. We want to highlight some initiatives that ACTFL is already doing in regards to each pillar. And we really want to answer your questions and get your ideas about the profession and what ACTFL does. And we want to collect this information so that we can inform board decisions and staff decisions about next steps in our strategic plan, either this year or in coming years. So these are the 5 pillars of our strategic plan. I do have them lined up in a line here, but the truth is that they intersect in many ways, a lot like the standards. I could have put them in a similar 5 C's type of logo. So we've already had our town halls on our EDI pillar and on our research pillar. So tonight we're focusing on teacher recruitment and retention. If you didn't get the handout yet, you'll see it on the bottom of each slide now here, this tiny URL. Whoops, maybe not this slide. So it's tinyurl.com/ACTFL TRR. And I think people have put it in the chat a number of times. So for teacher recruitment and retention, for every pillar, we have sort of an overarching vision statement. This on the very top is ACTFL's mission statement. ACTFL's overall mission statement is providing vision, leadership, and support for quality teaching and learning of languages. This particular pillar's mission, vision statement basically is ACTFL is actively engaged in improving teacher recruitment and retention. So our guiding questions for this town hall are, what is ACTFL already working on in this area? What are your ideas and suggestions? That's the most exciting part for us. And what are your questions about the teacher recruitment and retention pillar? Let's take a quick look at the rest of what we have in our strategic plan under this pillar. So first, we want to increase understanding of ACTFL's role, ACTFL's specific role in teacher recruitment and retention. We want to make sure that we as an organization are allocating appropriate resources to address teacher recruitment and retention. We want to explore new opportunities to engage in recruitment. And we want to increase the impact of anything existing that we're already doing in the area of retention. So you can keep those in mind as we go along this evening. Now I'm going to ask Pete Swanson, who's done a lot of work and research and writing in this area, to start us off sort of grounded in the research.
Thank you, Jessica. There's a somewhat growing literature base on the recruitment and retention of world language educators. And there's various reasons for why there is a shortage of us, right? The Canadians kind of take a look at it in four areas. They say there's task-related reasons, such as classroom management issues and working conditions that cause people to leave the profession. Of course, there's individual issues, such as our emotional and psychological states, as well as kind of time in the profession, gender, right? They say there's social reasons as well, like our lack of collaboration that is sometimes not given to us, right? The lack of professional networking opportunities and relationships with those overseeing us, right? And of course, then there's those socioeconomic factors, right? And, you know, some teachers may remain in teaching despite all of these problems, you know, but once things get better, people tend to leave the classroom in pursuit of other employment, right? Please go to the next slide. When I was looking at it, I found 5 main factors that really account for the shortage here in the United States. And the first one is retirements. As you know, the biggest bubble is the baby boomers. And during the 2008-2009 crisis, right, a lot of the baby boomers that were thinking about retiring didn't retire at the time. And now that things are getting much better with the economy, retirements have set in, and that's causing a large amount of our shortage as well. The attrition factor as well. And some attrition I think is good, right? People really just think this isn't really where I want to be. I'm going to go out and find something else. But unfortunately, the attrition can be really bad when you have really great people in the classroom working with learners. That can be detrimental to our profession as well. More and more students are enrolling in foreign languages at more and more different levels, right? We have these K-12 programs, we have these dual enrollment programs and such. And so as the enrollment goes up, that makes it a little bit more difficult to find teachers to staff more classrooms and more sections. There is legislative problems as well, not only at the federal level, which No Child Left Behind and the iterations from that have kind of caused as well, but state level as well. If you take a look in Canada, it's even worse, because if you're certified really in one province and you move to the next one, you're not certified. And that makes a big problem as well when people are moving, because teachers are mobile, right? And of course, then we have the profession and the perceptions of this profession, right? And that causes a problem as well. But what we know from the literature base is that, you know, we need high quality preparation. There's no other way around it. We really need to prepare our teachers the best that we can, right? We need a really smooth induction to the field, followed by ongoing meaningful support that helps these people, because so many teachers leave in the first few years of teaching, right? And of course, schools have a culture of high expectations for student learning and effective structures in place for handling student behavior issues to keep the teachers in the classroom as well. And then schools that grant teachers more decision-making in the process tend to retain more and more teachers, which is great. There's more autonomy there as well. And of course, teachers who experience a good fit between what they're interested in professionally and the environment in which they work, those people will tend to remain in the classroom as well. And a lot of my research, if you take a chance to look at that, shows that as well. All right. And so the Howie and the staff have provided a free access to an issue of a very important article that has come out by Christina Oon and Teresa Bell and Krista Chambliss, right? Titled Issues of World Language Teacher Preparation. Of course, is the ACTFL CAPE Standards and Oral Proficiency, and you can find it in Foreign Language Annals. So see the link in the handout for that. And if you have specific questions, I know that Christina is here with us this evening and she could answer those.
Thanks so much, Pete. And also linked on your handout is information about on the prior slide, excuse me, about this whole entire issue of the language educator, which was devoted to this topic and has the article that lists a number of these, that explains these things in it. Thank you so much, Pete. So Leslie, do you want to tell our participants here what we thought about when we were organizing our thinking around this topic?
Sure. Good evening, everybody.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. You know what, a favor, everyone? We learned that if all of us turn off our cameras and only the ASL interpreters have their cameras on, then everyone will be able to see them. So even though I love seeing your faces and I want it on in breakout rooms, for now, let's all turn off our cameras so ASL is highlighted. And Leslie, thank you. Sorry, Les. Thanks.
No worries. Okay. So what we want to think about this evening as we reflected on all the different initiatives and programs and resources that ACTFL has provided that contribute to the idea of teacher retention and recruitment, we're thinking about 4 groups of educators. So the first group are prospective teachers. So those are K-12, university, graduate, career changers, people who are getting ready to become teachers. And then we're thinking about classroom teachers that might have provisional, temporary, or emergency certifications. So that's a second group of teachers. And then the third group of teachers are our practicing teachers. So that's teachers who just joined us in August in their first year of their teaching career, to early career teachers and late career teachers. And then the final group we're thinking about are teachers from diverse backgrounds. And that involves our less commonly taught languages, our heritage languages, our immigrant teachers, our teachers from underrepresented groups. And so when you look at these 4 groups, I'd like you to think about where you would put yourself into one of these groups. And also notice that you may see that you overlap into more than one of these groups. But this is going to be the lens now for the next several slides. We're going to talk about the different resources and initiatives and things that ACTFL has put together to support teacher recruitment and retention through the lens of these different teacher groups.
Thank you, Leslie. So let's ask Erin from the ACTFL staff, who is in charge of the Educators Rising program, to start by telling us about this initiative that really targets K through 12 prospective teachers and university prospective teachers.
Hi, everyone. Actually, Jessica, it's
okay.
Kate
I'm
McRae.
sorry. Oh, you're right. I skipped one.
No
it's
worries.
Kate McRae.
So hi, everyone. I am delighted to introduce ACTFL's Educators Rising, which is an exciting initiative to help students explore language teaching as a career. Currently, we have 10 ready-to-use modules in English on our learning management system that are free for any educator to download. Each module includes a PowerPoint presentation, a guide to help educators facilitate discussion, and a worksheet for students to record their thoughts and reflections. So we are actually going to release a Spanish version of the modules here very soon. and in 2022, a French and Arabic version, so that these modules could also be infused into class time in the target language. We're really excited to have this initiative in order to expand the teacher recruitment pipeline. And I will put a link to the English version of the modules in the chat for anyone who may be interested.
And I think Howie just did that, and it's also linked on your handout, everyone. And so one of the things I'm going to throw up like little pink questions to remind you to be thinking about what you might want to discuss in your breakout rooms. So I'm sure Kate thinks about this all the time. How can we encourage more schools to use it, since so much work has gone into making these beautiful modules? So that's something to put in the back of your head if you have some ideas to discuss in your breakout rooms. Thanks so much, Kate. Okay, Erin, I apologize. Would you like to talk to us about how the Lead with Languages campaign can help us to appeal to prospective teachers?
Thanks so much, Jessica.
Diverse backgrounds. Thank you.
Absolutely. And it's so fun to talk with you a little bit about Lead with Languages tonight and introduce those of you who aren't aware, and maybe reintroduce some of you who saw it when it first launched in 2017. We continue to add new resources. This is our site for students, parents, and school counselors or academic advisors and others. It's a hub of free resources that offers information about the benefits of learning a language, jobs that you can do with those language skills, the need for folks across different sectors, and a whole host of other resources, including testimonials for those doing advocacy initiatives. And so something particularly important to this evening's conversation is our Lead with Languages Teacher Scholarship Program. And this is something we opened in 2019. So we're in our third year of the program. This offers funding to high school students who are graduating seniors and wish to become language educators. And so these students receive $1,500 per year, cumulative up to a $6,000 addition toward their studies, as well as membership in ACTFL when they become a teacher. We have a year of membership included to build that network around them. And so you can find information about the current class of students who were just received into the program on the campaign homepage. And they have, from 8 states, and they're teaching or going to teach up to 7 languages. So it will be exciting to follow them.
That is so exciting. Thank you, Erin. And again, every single thing you're seeing now is linked on your handout in order, I think, in the order you're seeing it. But people already found typos on the handout. So if it's not a perfect order, I apologize. But again, another thing to think about, thanks so much, Erin, is as you go into your breakouts later, how can we do better? How can we reach more people with this? I don't know if you've been on it in a while, but it's beautiful, beautiful resources. So this brings us to an initiative that impacts a range of these groups of teachers, prospective teachers, classroom teachers who are pursuing certification or having trouble finding certification, and teachers from diverse backgrounds. Paul Sandrock, would you like to talk to us about this Star Talk program?
Thank you so much, Jessica. And of course, in all of these endeavors, it takes a village. And this is a very collaborative project. ACTFL has collaborated with the State Departments of Education in 4 southern states to try to meet the needs of the group of teachers that you see, prospective teachers that you see at the bottom of the slide. The whole program is focused on providing what may be difficult to find in their local community, starting with an orientation to how do you plan purposefully effective language learning. And from that planning, they actually create lessons, demonstrate those lessons, get feedback. We were able this year, it is all funded through the National Security Agency. Thus, the languages that you see are the targeted audience, the targeted participants on the right. And we were able to provide also language coaches so that teachers who are native speakers and currently teaching those languages like Arabic, Chinese, Korean, actually available to help participants process in their native language these ideas, the examples, to really dig deep into how do you plan effective language learning. And we also really wanted to make sure we removed barriers such as the oral proficiency interview or writing proficiency tests that may be required in more than half of the states for certification. We are providing that as well, and a personalized learning plan so that whatever is not provided in the program, that final step to reach state certification, is at least coached into what does that individual need to do to meet the requirements. We had 30 graduates in 2019, and we have 30 participating this year. We're quite excited to bring them to schools ready to have new language programs.
That's wonderful. Thanks so much, Paul. And next, I'm just going to give a little shout out to the ACTFL online convention that we call ACTFL Virtual. I really do think that this is something, and for me in my own career, ACTFL is the thing that kept me going, because it's where I got my energy every year. Everything I'm good at in teaching, if I'm good at things, it's things I learned from all of my colleagues and many of you on here tonight at ACTFL. And so I'm really excited, and I've been really thinking about the opportunities that a virtual convention brings, in that you have access to those sessions for 4 months. So you don't have to just run around all weekend trying to get to things. You can decide in January that suddenly you're interested in a new session that took place back in November. So I'm excited about what that means for keeping us practicing teachers going, in terms of giving us new, refreshing ideas for a longer period of time. But also, I do think that it's going to allow it allows a lot more people to attend, because you're not paying for all that, the travel and the flights and the things like that. So I'm very hopeful that it's something that contributes to teacher retention or even recruitment, if we're able to encourage more student teachers to come. And we do have a Stipend Award program for practicing, for first-time attendees, also for individuals who identify as Black, Indigenous, or people of color, and also for new teachers in their first 3 years. So that's pretty exciting. And I think that that really goes a long way to reaching out to some of these groups. So one thing I do want you to think about and maybe consider discussing is, how can we encourage more teachers to apply for this? Because even last year, we didn't get as many as you would think. So please spread the word on these Stipend Awards to attend the convention. Leslie, you forwarded this to me, and I just thought that this was absolutely ideal for us to share tonight. Can you explain this graphic to us?
Sure. So this article is linked in your handout. It's called the Irreplaceables, and it's really focusing in on retention. So the idea is, what are the reasons why experienced teachers leave? And so take a look at some of these low-cost retention strategies that Irreplaceables, who are teachers who are so amazing in the classroom that it's impossible to replace them, but often they disappear from our schools and move on to something else. And so take a look at some of these strategies in terms of making sure teachers are getting regular feedback, making sure they're able to identify areas of development and how they want to improve themselves in their teaching, being recognized, being put in charge of something like leadership roles, and having the kinds of resources that they need. And so along this vein of teacher retention, the next slides are going to talk about some of the strategies that ACTFL is undertaking to help with the retention side of recruitment and retention.
Thank you. And now we come to mentoring. And I know that Victoria Russell, our incoming president, our president-elect, has done a lot of work with ACTFL on this. So she's going to talk to you about it.
Thanks so much, Jessica. I am really delighted to talk to you about the mentoring program. I want to point your attention to the top left-hand part of the slide where it says new teachers who do not receive mentoring and other supports leave at more than 2 times the rate of those who do. That is huge. And our distinguished board member, Leslie Grahn, pointed out to me that research by Ingersoll and others shows that when seasoned teachers have opportunities to participate in leadership, such as mentoring others, they're more likely to stay in the profession. So mentoring is really important for retaining our new teachers and our seasoned teachers. ACTFL has two mentoring programs. We have the traditional mentoring program that is for teachers that are in the first 3 years of their teaching, and they are paired up with a seasoned teacher who volunteers to be the mentor. And ACTFL makes every effort to pair up teachers with the same language and same level so they can share expertise, resources, and so forth. The mentoring program is not rigid. For the traditional mentoring program, they are recommended to meet once a month, but they're not told how. They can meet by phone, they can meet online. It's up to the mentor and mentee how often they meet and what topics they cover. The mentee identifies the topics that are important. Regarding the online mentoring program, that's extremely dear to my heart. When I was chair of the distance learning special interest group, we actually created, piloted and launched the online mentoring program. I know my colleague, Catherine Murphy Judy's here. I'd like to give a shout out to Catherine. She was vice chair when we launched that program. It's been very rewarding. The DL-SIG members created the resources. They created online modules to help teachers who are new to online teaching. A teacher could be very seasoned, could have 20 years of experience, yet be new to online teaching. We saw that happen with the pandemic. So the DL-SIG members created these wonderful modules that are free, open, and available for everyone to use. And we worked with the National Foreign Language Resource Center, and they actually host the modules. So they work hand in hand with ACTFL on the online mentoring program. And so I invite all of you to explore this resource further. Whether you have new teachers at your school, if you're a new teacher yourself, or if you'd like to learn more about online teaching, we invite you to explore these a little bit more. Thanks so much, Jessica, for letting me talk about the mentoring programs.
Thank you, Victoria, for all the work all of you did and the SIG did to get it going. So, and of course, we want to know how we can do better, how we can get more people to sign up for it. The more the merrier. So please add that to your thinking caps as you go into breakout rooms. Just a little bit, we have a few more things to show you. So I'd like to invite Leanne Tirada to talk to you now about the Leadership Initiative for Language Learning.
Hi, I just want to say how LIL has been such a transformational experience for me. I attended LIL in cohort 1 in 2015 and have since moved from being an emerging leader, where I was just a mid-career educator in the classroom, and really just layered my leadership, expanded my sphere of influence. And I was invited to be one of the facilitators for cohort 4. And the work that LIL and ACTFL have been doing is just really wonderful. I'd have to say that the recent cohort 4 has 56 emerging leaders. They represent 10 national organizations, 40 state organizations, and that also includes 41 for our capital, DC. So it's just been a really invigorating movement, I would have to say, because people are making a difference in their states, in their region, and really across the United States and around the world. And many participants here today are LIL graduates, LIL advocates. So it's pretty exciting. The next cohort will start up in 2023. So really, I want to encourage you, be involved at your state, regional, and national level.
Thank you so much. And that speaks just to those opportunities for leadership. If you're not finding them in your schools, if teachers aren't finding them in their schools, perhaps they can find them through something like LIL. But again, you can give us ideas on how we can do better. I'm going to ask Bridget Yaden, ACTFL past president, to talk to you a bit about how the ACTFL Professional Awards can encourage teachers as well.
Thanks, Jessica. Celebrating our educators can be a valuable tool for retaining teachers. In fact, we just heard from Leslie that that recognition is a low-cost retention strategy. The ACTFL Awards program recognizes outstanding contributions to the field of language education. You can see on our website, if you go under Learn and Grow, ACTFL has a wide variety of awards to recognize teachers, scholars, and advocates, both individually and at organizations. We celebrate these awards publicly during our convention in the fall, and as past president, I get to host that wonderful event this year. So we've made 2 changes recently to our awards program. First, we welcome self-nominations. Any ACTFL member can submit a nomination, either of another person or an organization or themselves. And then the second change was that we recently had a task force made up of ACTFL members who worked to update and streamline the rubrics for all of the awards. These rubrics are available for folks who are considering a nomination or putting their nomination together, so the process is as transparent as possible. Those rubrics are open for all to see on our website. We'd love to hear from you with suggestions for how we can get more people to apply for the awards. And also, please take a look at the awards we currently have and let us know what categories of awards are still missing. What are the kinds of things and groups of educators we should be celebrating through our professional awards program? And in particular, which ones would help with recruitment and retention? Thanks, Jessica.
Thanks so much, Bridget. So again, how can we do better? And Bridget gave you your thinking questions there. And now I would like to ask former Teacher of the Year and current board member, Ying Jin, to talk to us about the Teacher of the Year program, probably our best known award.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everyone. The first ACTFL Teacher of the Year was awarded in 2006. So after 15 years, we realized that it's time for us to review and maybe update the system, the program. So a team is working on that to make it, up to the date. And another big goal is to make sure the program will include everybody. So I think talking about my personal experience, I really want to say I'm just a classroom teacher like many of you. So really this Teacher of the Year Teacher of the Year program is for us. And I feel like as a teacher, it's very important for us to, get feedback and reflect on our practice. And, going through the process, of this Teacher of the Year program, definitely you're going to get a lot of opportunities to reflect. So really consider, being part of the program. And also as a teacher whose first language is not English, I know, for those of us, we have to do a lot, but don't be just, discouraged, and trust you can do it with the help, with the support of your colleagues and people from local organizations, state organization, and of course, ACTFL. So let's do it.
I love it. Thank you. And like you said, though, if you're not the person who wants to apply, please consider being that person who encourages someone else and helps them and shepherds them through the process. Because I'm sure almost all of the Teachers of the Year will tell you that there were people like that helping them along the way. And so that's what we all need to do to get a lot of teachers involved. Now I'm going to ask Pablo Muirhead, our ACTFL Treasurer, board member, to talk to you about how volunteering with ACTFL is another way that teachers can feel that involvement, and it helps with retention.
Exactly. Thank you, Jessica. I love ACTFL. I love this association. I love the energy that I get from attending the conference. If you were reading the chat, you'll see Ben Rifkin writing about how the conference is a turbocharger for him. I think that's true for many of us. And ACTFL is a large part of what we do happens at the convention, but so much else happens during the rest of the year. So to the point that Leslie made in talking about Irreplaceables, being put in charge of something or being invited to be a part of something. I was fortunate, this is year 27 for me in education, but early in my career getting involved in my state association, in ACTFL. And if you visit the ACTFL portal, you'll see where you can indicate your interest in volunteering for a myriad of things, ranging from serving on award committees to short-term to longer-term kind of assignments. It's a great way to network. It's a great way to get involved. And I would encourage you, if you're here, you've probably already done that already. So this message is for us to take to the next level and help encourage others, particularly those from underrepresented groups and teachers that are early in their careers, or those teachers we think might need something to hold on to stay in the field. So get involved, get others involved, and thank you, ACTFL, and I'm glad to be able to speak to that.
Thank you. And at the end tonight, I'll show a little graphic that shows you exactly what that portal area looks like, in case you're wondering. And of course, how can we do better? How can we get more people to volunteer so we have even more involvement? And now I'm going to ask our Executive Director, Howie Berman, to talk you through some of the legislative advocacy side of teacher recruitment and retention.
Thanks, Jessica. Hi, everyone. So when I talk to teachers and educators, I always say that, advocacy is part of your role, or should be part of your role. And advocacy is not always necessarily going up on the hill, but it's really about those relationships and making sure that your programs are known, people know what you're doing, you're showcasing all the great things that are happening in your programs. And that's sort of the key to longevity and success in those programs, making sure that you are valued and vibrant and intertwined in those communities that you have. For the sake of what I want to talk about here real quick, there's a lot of things that ACTFL is engaged in on several fronts with respect to addressing teacher recruitment and retention. And it affects all these types of educators that you see, these buckets that we've been talking about. And we do this in several ways, in partnership with organizations like the JNCL, the Joint National Committee for Languages, which is an organization that we belong to. It's a wonderful partner. And there are many issues that we've been tackling at the federal level that are central to addressing recruitment and retention. College affordability and loan forgiveness, for one. Right now, world language is not officially identified as a shortage area, even though statistically it is. We have shortages in at least 44 states plus the District of Columbia. And this is really important because being designated a shortage area affords teachers, language teachers, more loan forgiveness in the federal statute and the Higher Education Act. So that's something that we're really pushing for. And of course, increased federal funding for scholarships, for subsidized tuition, teacher residency programs, teacher prep programs at HBCUs, MSIs, and TCUs is critical to diversifying the teacher pipeline. We've seen really strong financial support in these areas, both in the President's American Families Plan and now in the House Appropriations Bill. So we're seeing some very positive things happening. So that's good. Appropriations is also seeing increases to Title II of the Every Student Succeeds Act, which funds teacher development grants. So you see their professional learning for teachers, really important. Teacher quality partnership grants, again, that's Title II, huge increases in the appropriations. When we talk about support for English learners, there's one piece of legislation that we've worked on with JNCL in particular, the SPELL Act, which aims to address English learner teacher shortage in particular. And that looks to make highly qualified EL teachers eligible, again, for higher amounts of loan forgiveness, in this case, $17,500. And then on immigration, this has become something that's more at the forefront. We have a lot of teachers who are working on non-immigrant visas like H-1Bs and J-1s. We have other immigrant teachers that are in some stage of the pathway to citizenship. And I think we can do a lot more to both advocate at the federal level, but also support these educators through a number of avenues, like offering resources like legal clinics and even targeted professional development. And of course, we have an active outreach and advocacy and outreach committee that's chaired by board member Katrina Griffin. We work with an outside partner, the Sheridan Group, that really helps us hone our policy agenda as things on the ground change, and allows us to strengthen that ability to advocate in support of these issues like teacher recruitment and retention. And in fact, the next town hall, Jessica, will be on outreach and advocacy. So it's a great transition to next month.
September.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Howie. And then I'm going to ask Ben Rifkin to talk to us a little bit about some other opportunities that we identified in K-12 higher ed collaboration and articulation. And then I'm going to ask Celia Zamora to talk to us about recruitment opportunities in heritage communities. So Ben.
Hi, thanks so much. Hello, everybody from Long Island. And I just want to speak very briefly about the importance of collaboration and for our articulation and beyond between the two major sectors of our field, K-12 and higher ed. And for those of you who are not aware, the overwhelming majority of students graduating from high school who go on to college do so within a very close proximity to their home. So we don't have a lot of students who graduate from college on the graduate from high school on the East Coast and go to, say, California or Nevada for college. So this means that for high school teachers and college professors, you can reach out to the schools in your community to try and work on collaboration and articulation that will be useful for a lot of students who want to stay close to home. And working together is the best way to do that. Sometimes you're in the same community and you don't even know each other. So ACTFL can be a way to facilitate that by using the membership directory, and also just, talking with your colleagues within your institution about who the feeder schools are if you're a college professor, or if you're a high school teacher, talking with your guidance counselor about the most commonly applied to schools among students in their senior year of your school, and reaching out to the language departments there to find out what you can do to work together. Somebody's got to make the first move. Might as well be you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. I guess my daughter's one of the only ones who decided to go 3,000 miles away. That's go figure. Celia, can you talk to us a little bit about recruitment opportunities in the heritage communities? And
sure.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So one of the things that ACTFL is very dedicated in doing is to reaching out to heritage language learners who would otherwise not necessarily be interested or maybe think that they're qualified to teach, to become a world language teacher, and assist them in doing it, and also empowering them to really take that step to become a world language teacher. These include reaching out to community Saturday and just heritage language programs for really recruitment, empowering them, showing them the steps to become a world language teacher, and really providing them the resources and tools in order to get them there. These include providing virtual learning modules and workshops that are targeted to heritage language students, as well as future heritage language teachers, as well as resources for curriculum, unit design, task-based language teaching, and assessment programs. And also, ACTFL is very dedicated in supporting the less commonly taught languages through programs such as Star Talk, Seal of Biliteracy, and Educators Rising. And additionally, we are also working on the expansion of languages to be included in the national board certification, to also really provide a little bit more help to get teachers nationally board certified in all languages, or at least more languages that are currently represented.
Thank you so much. And so, as you can see from all of these wonderful presenters, there's a number of things going on at ACTFL, but now we want to hear from you. So our question that we'd like to send you to the breakout rooms with is, what more can ACTFL do to enhance teacher recruitment and retention? Clearly, there's still more to be done because as we're seeing in the chat, at least 44 states and maybe more have teacher shortages. So if you haven't gotten your handout yet, get it here because it has your breakout room directions on it as well. I'm going to briefly go over it and say, please introduce yourselves when you get there. Please choose someone to take notes. That someone should click on the Google Slides link in the handout. It's in your handout, and you'll come to a Google slide deck. You're going to go to the slide that matches your breakout room number. So as you're going in your breakout room, please pay attention to what number you've been assigned to. It'll say like join breakout room 5. And that's the slide that you will type your notes on, that we're going to be able to see those notes after. And even if we don't get to visit all your rooms, we'll be able to see your wonderful ideas. So please discuss that guiding question. What more can we do for teacher recruitment and retention? And then we'll give you a 3-minute warning toward the end. And we're going to need you to decide what's your most pressing question or suggestion you'd like to share with the group. Because when we get back, whole group, we're going to have you type those questions into Poll Everywhere. So maybe someone in your group can be the Poll Everywhere reporter who will be the typer. So we're not going to have every single person put questions in Poll Everywhere. We'll just have one person per group so that we can hopefully get to some of those questions. So Jamie, would you go ahead and and then you'll return to the main room automatically when time is up. So Jamie, would you go ahead and do the breakout rooms? Do you need me to tell you how? I think we're going to do 12. I think we're just going to have to do 11 minutes. We're a little behind on time. So when you see the breakout room, please click join and then turn your cameras on too. So as I see people are starting to come back, how are we here? Maybe a minute. Okay, thank you. So as you're starting to come back, if you've got your Poll Everywhere open, please go ahead and start typing something you'd like us to discuss for a few minutes. Unfortunately, we're close to time, but we have about 5 minutes for discussion. So if you have something that came up that you'd like to discuss whole group, we can take some time to do that. So start typing that in the Poll Everywhere, and I think it'll appear, it should appear here.
My Poll Everywhere.
So that's at pollev.com/Jessica H821. It's on the top of the screen right now. I'm sharing, right, everyone? Okay. So please go ahead and start typing your, hi everyone, welcome back. Go ahead and start typing your most pressing question or suggestion in Poll Everywhere, if you would, if you've still got that open. If you closed it, the directions are on the top of the screen, pollev.com, and then it's Jessica H821. So Marty should share her ideas for, so if you guys like the idea of Marty sharing right now, you can upvote it. So if you look on your phones, I think you can push, it's either thumbs up or something to upvote that. Oh, look, Marty, you already got one vote. We're gonna pull you in. Great, thanks so much for putting your suggestions, your ideas, and then even if you're not typing, you can look at your phone and upvote the things that you'd like us to talk about, because I don't think we'll have time to get to everything. We only have a few minutes left, but we will absolutely read through every one of those slides that you took notes in. So please feel free to keep adding things if there's things you thought of afterward. So Marty Abbott has got 9 votes to share her ideas for reaching middle school students. Marty, why don't you just start talking?
I'll start talking. Thank you, Jessica. It's just going back to some of the research that Pete talked about. We know that around middle school age is when students start to coalesce their ideas about their careers. And so that's why I'm such a supporter of everything that ACTFL's doing, especially the Educators Rising program, because if we can get teachers to start tapping students on the shoulder, even at that early age, and encouraging them to think about teaching as a career by giving them just a sample of teaching, by having them teach even a lesson to younger students, or after school program, or go to the elementary school and teach them a story in the target language. It just gives them that flavor of teaching and gets them excited about it. And I just think high school, middle school, those are the ages when we need to really get them excited about teaching.
Thank you so much. And we have a second top suggestion here to raise the visibility of world language education students at conferences. So I'm not sure if this group wants to say what they mean, but do you mean that people in educator preparation programs to raise their visibility when they're at conferences, or have a venue for them to do more presenting? Does anyone want to comment on what that meant? Feel free to unmute.
The idea is to give them a role at the conferences. So to do sessions, as you said, and to be invited and have sessions just for them and opportunities for them to talk with each other and feel that they're valued in that world.
What a beautiful idea. And Paul or Howie, does anybody, or Julia, do we have anything like that right now that's specifically a track for teacher education, people in teacher prep programs? Sorry, I don't have that.
Just the programs that the Teacher Development SIG puts on. And of course, there are a lot of sessions related to that topic.
Great. That's the lovely Julia Richardson, as you all probably have interacted with her many times. Thank you, Julia. And we have Supporting World Languages Day on university campuses, can be another avenue to recruit future teachers. Well, that's a great one. ACTFL putting more emphasis on urging higher ed language departments and College of Ed collaborating. Anyone, Ben, maybe Pete, any of you want to talk about, or Victoria, anyone wanted to, or Bridget, talk about that collaboration between language departments and ed departments? Any ideas there?
You know, I can say from my experience that within institutions with thriving language education programs, this is the pattern. There's no way to have a thriving program when the language programs and the education, the School of Education aren't working together. The problem is in those institutions where the programs aren't thriving because the people aren't talking. So that's my contribution, my thought.
What can ACTFL as an organization do to facilitate that? I think it's interesting, it's, ACTFL putting more emphasis on that. How could ACTFL facilitate that collaboration to happen more?
This is Michelle. It was my contribution, but coming from our group. I think that ACTFL could make a clear statement about the future of language departments in universities and language programs in K-12 is very dismal unless we start to collaborate much more closely, such that, that the students who go into language departments are also encouraged to consider teaching and develop teaching skills, and that there's a respect across the board, and that the teacher preparation programs are also closely collaborating with the language programs within a university.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you.
If I can piggyback on that a little bit, we have, of course, the ACTFL CAPE teacher preparation standards, but bring those a little bit more front and center to kind of, draw attention to exactly that. In order to have a good functioning, thriving program, you've got to have that collaboration. And I don't think a lot of universities, and I'm the exception, our university is wonderful with our collaboration, but I think there are universities out there that don't have a sense that it really is appropriate to collaborate. So
I cannot find who's talking. I can't find you in my thing.
I'm sorry, it's Christina. I'm sorry.
Oh, hi, Christina. Okay, thank you.
Make that need to collaborate more visible, whether that's a statement or an article or something. Make it more visible that that's what needs to happen. We see it quite a bit in CAPE reports where the right hand and the left hand did not talk to each other.
Could I add something? Jose Ricardo has his hand up, so I'm actually going to give him the last. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to give him the last word on this because we actually have to wrap up because it's almost 8:45, and I don't want to take too much more of your evening. But clearly, we have a lot to do in this area. Jose Ricardo.
I just would like to say that I hear the collaborations between the education departments and language departments, but also admissions. We need to learn a lot from the College of Business. They actually have an admissions person within the college that travels all over the country, especially the MBAs, recruiting, scouting. That's basically what they do. I have a friend that works in Maryland. He travels all over the world, paid by the College of Business, recruiting students for the MBA. I think probably if we did the same, granted we don't have the resources, but if we find the resources, if we scout, because that's the way we need to identify teachers, by scouting prospective students that are going to succeed in our programs.
What a beautiful way to close this evening. And I would add that in K through 12, it's guidance counselors as well, right? So all those pieces have to come together. I want to thank you so much. We have all of this that we're going to be able to look through afterward. I hope all of you at home are scrolling through. You can see it too on your poll everywhere. I wish we could get to everything tonight, but we do have to wrap up. So I'm gonna try to get to change my slide here. Let's try to stay connected over this. We have a couple ways to do that in your ACTFL community. Even if you're not a member, you can join this community in ACTFL Central. So you Google ACTFL Central, you can find it and you can post, and I'll start a strand about this town hall. And if there's more things you want to discuss there, we can keep the discussion going. We also have a Twitter account, so you can follow us on Twitter. And here is where you can find those volunteer opportunities. So again, you go to ACTFL Central. In order to volunteer, I believe you do have to be a member in order to access this part. But once you're logged in as a member, you can go to you can look across here and there'll be volunteer. And this is where, that's where volunteers opportunities are listed. And so thank you so much. Can you still see my screen, everyone? I lost you somewhere. But thank you so much for your time and participation. It's been really a pleasure to be with you this evening. And we will collate all of this. We will bring it to the board, and actually we'll be doing some reporting on all of the town halls by early next year. That will be the last thing I do in December after the convention to pull things together. But this is not the end of the conversation. It's really just the middle, or not quite the beginning, but it's certainly just, we're in the thick of it. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.